everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Sherry Hudson-Passy from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and we are going to be talking about day 2 of season 12 of Relative Race. And with me to talk about and share some of our thoughts and our tears and our emotions from day 2, we have Shelley Murphy, our family tree girl. Hi, Dr. Shelley.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
We're good.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. I'm glad you're here too. We've got Jenner. Jenny.
Hey, Jenner.
I'll answer anything.
I know.
Sorry. Well, my mouth doesn't work a lot of times.
We got you covered, Cheri.
Yeah.
Jenny.
We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here. Yay.
Thank you. Nice to see everyone.
Melissa, I will try not to mess up you. Melissa Barker, our archive lady.
I'm supposed to have the jet lag, not you.
No, I haven't done anything. You're supposed to have the jet lag. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're all here because what an episode. What an episode we had.
Great.
Too. It was
The season is different. Just in the
season
second
is
one
different.
is blowing my mind.
The season is a little bit different, which I'm kind of glad that that they're kind of messing things up a little bit for us so that we're like, what? Wait a minute, what? I think that I don't know. I think my favorite part is the fact that they're just getting to know each other better. And we'll talk about that again, as we get to the end, but they were able to speak to each other more again without Dan. So, I love that they're getting to know each other more. So as we come on to day 2, we had a great day 1 with finding the first relatives, and of course we had a first strike and those types of things, and that was Team Green. So I think that's probably a little bit of pressure as you go into the next day when you get your first strike, but we always say, hey, tomorrow's another day, right? Because
absolutely,
a lot of times that first team that gets that first strike never gets another one. It's almost like that.
That's true from
Yes,
last
right.
year.
It gets them going.
Black. Remember, they went a while before they got their first strike. Yeah.
So sometimes getting that first strike makes them go, whoa, and then they do better through the rest of the race. So so they're at their relative's house, and wait a minute, somebody got something. Somebody got something, and I'm trying to remember who
the dice
before they left. Well, that was their benefit.
Their prize.
Some from their
they got. Hang on, I got it here. Hang on.
My mind went.
Somebody got a family tree.
Yeah, they did look
at a family tree.
Are you talking about something that was in a box?
No, it was a framed something.
Yeah, I think that they got that once they were at the relative's house. For some reason, I was thinking that somebody got something as they left, but for the life of me, I can't remember. So I know that people watching will say, "Well, duh, it was this." So
I don't remember.
You will remind us if that happened.
Yes.
But anyway, I know that they were so excited to get on the road again, and Team Black had a really hard time.
Yeah, it's funny. My husband and I were talking because that was in Nashville, and we remember when those interstates were closed because we had to go to Nashville, and my husband knows the Nashville like the back of his hand, so we detoured all over around it. So when they showed that, I went, oh, remember when we did that?
There may have been relative race that Team Black may have been in there. You just didn't know it.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
What was interesting, it was just like every one, I want to say every exit, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the road
they were doing some major construction through there.
Is that what it was? The construction?
Yeah.
That's so frustrating. It's like, how do you
But
get
their
out there?
time wasn't bad.
No,
for having those delays.
Yeah.
Well, they had done so much prep ahead of time. They had really looked to see what the routes were. So, but it just was so frustrating.
Which is really smart to get those routes mapped out. And so because I know a lot of people say that's taking my time, but not really. If you're figuring out how to get out of there and where to go, then it's really saving you time, because trying to figure all that out in the car while you're driving is a lot more stressful. Yeah. You tend to miss exits and run through stuff.
At least how to get out.
You're not supposed to do. Yeah. Say that again, Shelley. Would you say?
At least the night before, know how to get out
of the town,
either out of the subdivision or out of the town.
Out of the subdivision, because there's been teams that couldn't get out of the subdivision.
Yes.
Or Or they were at the football. Do you remember the one where they're at the football stadium and they couldn't figure out how to get out?
Well, I think of my own subdivision, it's like 10 minutes to get out. And I have a friend, some of you might know her, but she's really like 15 minutes for me, and we're in the same subdivision. It's not that we're neighbors next door, but at least probably 15 minutes to get there, and it's just the craziest thing, but it's a big subdivision. But to get to that major highway and know if I got to go east or west or left or right or whatever.
Exactly.
Well, if you remember last week, I told you that house in Nashville, I felt like was an Airbnb or something because of the posters of the Nashville airport on the wall. Well, I thought came to my mind. I thought, okay, they're having this trouble in Nashville with traffic. Why didn't their relative, who we're assuming lives in that house, tell them about that? Because they live in Nashville. That gives them more credit to the fact that they didn't live there.
They didn't live there.
But remember, we were told they didn't live at the places where
some
this was years ago.
Yeah, some do, some don't.
Yeah, so last week there was posters of Nashville Airport on the wall for advertising.
Yeah,
exactly. So that was a big clue that they didn't live there, and they couldn't tell them. But you've got to avoid this road because all the natives would have known.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
we knew it because we knew here, and we live an hour and a half away, but we knew because our local news is Nashville news, and so that's what we watch. And they were constantly telling us about these closures. So
everybody that comes to my house for to help with my mom and all this kind of stuff, I have to tell them be careful because they're paving the roads in my neighborhood. And I can't tell you your GPS. It's not going to get you here. You're just gonna. I like to never got in and out the other day. I was like, I have to get back to my house. Then all the roads closed because they were paving. So those things just happen,
They do.
But again, I still thought their time was not as bad.
No, you're right. It wasn't
from
as
third
bad.
place to fourth.
It wasn't as
for
bad.
all those delays.
Right.
So
Team Red had a fun day because they handed them those red fuzzy dice as they traveled. And Dan's like, and you want to know what these mean, right? Right. Well, we're not going to tell you right now. You're going to have to wait. And all I kept thinking was, please let them actually mean something this time. Please let them actually mean something.
Yeah, well, I kind of assumed it was going to be time.
Yeah.
It was time one way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
Either adding, which I doubt, but taking away seemed like the logical thing.
But then again, I cannot remember what season it was when they got those fuzzy dice and it meant nothing. It was just a decoration for the car. And I was so mad for that team. So mad. Yeah. They were robbed. It was so sad. So they did pretty well getting to their I also want to bring up the fact of our there's the Team Red saying their prayer before they left. I thought that was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And
also Team Red, if you remember, was it Team Red?
The
with her sister, and they made music together.
Before they left. I knew something else happened before they left.
They had to. They had to. When it
was so beautiful, and I said, "Well, there's Team Red's theme song from now on."
Yes,
it was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Oh, they sounded so good together. So
for not knowing each other but being related was really cool.
Right.
But don't you think all the stories are a little bit interesting? I mean, all of them are interesting, but they all have another little twist to them this year.
Yeah,
and I thought that was good. Another take.
And I was going to say, I'm really loving Callie because every time it's Pat, right? Callie and Pat. I forgot the right name. Yeah. Every time he meets somebody, she gets so excited.
About the brother and sister.
And their adopted brother and sister. Not that they're not brother and sister. I'm just saying she's so excited. Somebody
like it's hers. Yeah. She's so excited.
Yeah, and I love that so much. She's cracking me up. I just love her excitement.
She was singing in the car too.
Oh, she's good. She was Country Roads Take Me.
Yeah, Country Roads.
She's good.
Yeah. No, it was good.
She's good. All right, talk to me about the challenge.
Yes, the challenge was called Hamper Havoc.
It looked fun.
It did look fun.
I figured out the key to that game.
Oh, I thought it was so funny, and it would be a great.
Yes,
I'm gonna say it.
That would be a good family
Yeah.
reunion.
Needs to go in the
You're
book,
talking about
relative
the
race.
shooting thing. Yeah.
Needs to go in the book, relative race. We got
Yeah,
but the key to that game was whoever was shooting the teachers needed to shoot it high enough that the person could maneuver themselves to catch it, because if you shot it low, you didn't give them much time.
Right.
And so a few of those minutes, I think almost all the teams finally figured out they needed to shoot it really high.
Have to go high.
Yeah.
And then they get it, and they have to put them on hangers, and then look at the letters on the back to see what it says. And
yes.
But another thing is
that was tough.
It made it tougher because they were on grass. So the moving of that part was a little difficult. If they would have been on concrete or, and would have made it a little easier.
Yes. And the word, everybody was getting upset that they couldn't get the word, but
too obvious.
I bet you
Jenny got it.
I shouted it out.
I did. I got
it. They're not genealogists. They don't.
Right.
Yeah, the word they don't ever see.
Right.
So
right.
It's probably.
But two of them said, "Think about the program or the theme."
Yeah,
and, we're doing. And that's when it clicked.
And that's when it clicked. Absolutely. That's when it clicked. And then who timed out? Team Black. They also timed out.
Black. Yeah.
So they had a rough day all around because they almost got it, but then
again, it's what you've been exposed to. So, like you said, we're in that all
for us. We're like, get it. We know the word, and they just couldn't get it. So
that's when we had those side conversations with the TV and the people that's on it.
Oh gosh, that was a good one. But anything like that would be really fun for a family get together.
That's one for the book.
Yeah, I think that is definitely one for the book. Relative race. We're waiting for the book.
One day, I think they're waiting on us.
We're at 12 seasons now. We got enough games to make a relative race book. And I think it would sell. I really do think it would sell. Oh gosh. All right. Who do you want to talk about first as we go to meet family? Let's
talk about the Black team, because what I loved about the Black team is that he made a goofy face like Dan, and Dan's not here.
Yes.
But he made that goofy face.
Yes.
And I reminded me of our Dan. And so
our Dan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Dan the man. Our Dan.
Our Dan.
Our Dan, who was supposed to be hopping on tonight. So something like that.
So they were taking pictures, and he made a face, and I thought about our Dan. So
but I love his story. I love his story.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah, go ahead. Share the story.
Well, just the fact that, he's got an adopted sister. She's there with him, and going on this venture. And the thing of it is, he met, was it sister or auntie? Auntie.
Yeah.
He met an auntie.
This time he met, are you talking about?
He met his uncle.
He met his uncle.
Okay, uncle.
Yeah. Uncle Pete. Uncle Pete.
And Uncle
just like him.
Don't be offended, Uncle Pete. But as soon as you saw the heads, you knew they were related. It was family, and I think the sister made some side comment, but again, the likeness. And so, but what a journey to think now you're seeing someone that even looks like you a little bit.
Yeah.
Where some people don't have that. And some of us, I'm one of 5 kids. All of us look like one or the other of our parents, and the youngest one look like all 5 of us kids. You know what I'm saying? All jumbled up together. Yeah. But again, he is, as an adult, he's seeing family for the first time, like
last week, pictures of his sisters and his uncles and his dad. So he got to see a lot of pictures. That was really
and that's really sweet about the people that are agreeing, the family that are agreeing, because we know when it comes up in a few minutes, some people don't want to be involved and stuff. But I like his story, being able to find, I guess it's the commonality He's getting the love, no doubt.
Oh yeah, he's getting love. He's getting love. And
well, his uncle said that he was 10 years younger than his dad,
his brother,
and that they were very close.
Yes.
And he also was saying, if he'd have known about you, you would have been with us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And
So
that
that's
had
a little
to make
tip.
him feel good.
And somebody, I just wanted to say, a couple of weeks ago, Jenny talked to us about her situation with her non-parental events, and somebody left a comment on that I thought fits with relative race as well, and talking about the way they were raised and who they were raised with, and just how things came to be. They said, you know what, I am who I am because of who I was raised with and the people that loved me, and so I think that's important to remember as well, that most of them are coming into this not because they don't want to have anything to do with the family that they were raised with. They just want more information, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's important, and I think it was a really good comment that somebody left, Jenny, on the video that you did for us when you came and talked to us. So just about as they look back after they found all this information and done all the research, that they could see the path that was set for them. And because of the path that was set for them, they are now who they are.
Absolutely.
And so do they want to go back and change it? Maybe not, because then they wouldn't be who they are.
It's not the point. No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just finding, exactly. You know, somebody that does, just, you know, it is, you get your you get your identity from growing up with your surroundings as well. Sure. And so this is just an extension of who they are, or who they look like, or, that's why Team Green thing hurt me big time. The Team Green
go ahead and situation.
Go ahead. I just felt so bad. So Andy, it's Andy, right? Andy and Lizzie. And so he met his cousin on his mom's side, and she was wonderful. And I guess she did the family tree, and she was showing him like all the way back to Ireland. And which was great. And then she had to be the one to break the news that his mom, his maternal side, did not want to take part in the journey, did not want to meet him. And
because the lines it was blank. He says, why is this line blank? It ends right here. Why
does it stop?
Why does it stop there?
Why does it stop? And he was just broken. I certainly know in my case that I've reached out to my biological half family, and I've gotten rejected too. And it doesn't, it's like, it doesn't feel good. I mean, obviously it doesn't feel good. And well,
one thing's for sure, we don't know. We've had this before. We don't know about that maternal side. We don't know how she came to have that baby.
Right.
Exactly.
We don't know if it's going to really mess up her marriage now, or whatever family situation now, if, so, I don't
or there's still people that don't know.
Right. That's true. And my thoughts were perhaps they just weren't comfortable doing the show. And then maybe at some point they can meet privately.
Well, now that they know that that person's there, maybe at some point it can happen, but we just don't know.
Somebody's watching this show.
We don't know. And unfortunately, on social media, there's a lot of people that were just jumping up and down all over the biological.
We can't do that. We don't need to do that.
How dare they not want to meet them? Well, sure, that hurts, but we don't know the story, so we're judging them based on, we have no idea what the story is.
Two sides.
Always two sides.
Sometimes three, Shelley.
That's right. Yeah. No, that's absolutely right.
Exactly.
And I don't remember how old he is, but we're talking, he's not 20. I don't remember his age, but again, you're talking about an adult man that's seeking back, and like you said, we don't know anything within that family.
Could have been incest, could have been rape, could have been
absolutely,
could have been all sorts of kinds of things.
Could have been a total secret.
And so, we've got to give them the benefit of the doubt and not just jump all over
and
people.
respect the fact that if they said no, okay, keep going.
Because if you respect them,
he found out he was Irish.
I think if you respect that now, I think maybe that will go a long way, maybe in something happening later. But I thought the most wonderful thing, and I think a first maybe, was that his cousin Erin said, we've talked before.
I know.
Oh yes,
DNA. Yes. That was really cool.
How
that
cool
was wild.
That
was wild. Yeah.
DNA match. That is so funny. That is so
but
cool.
was it the reason why did they not follow up with each other? Was it just the normal? I mean, that happens all the time.
Exactly. Think about it. Yeah, you get all these people and sometimes you just get busy with other things and whatever. And so, so Relative Race had to say, okay, y'all start talking. So
I thought about Terry when she told him about his County Cork, Ireland connection.
Yes.
And I thought about Terry. I wish she was on the show. But
I wish she'd been on.
So
yeah.
How would that feel to find out that your name is not your name?
Yeah.
I got it.
Finds out he's an O'Leary.
He's an O'Leary.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Son of Leary.
Son of Leary. Jenny, how does that feel, Jenny?
Yeah.
I mean, and Shelley could probably answer too, but it's surreal. It's really surreal because especially going back to Irish, so I have an Irish last name, really now. And I don't know,
our name is that thing that I think is with us from the very beginning, obviously.
Yeah.
And so for something like that to not be what it is, those feelings have got to be amazing.
It is.
I haven't even told everybody.
Really?
Only just a couple people and family, and it was like, I got to be ready for that because number one, they're either not going to believe me. Number one,
can you expand on that? There was a question Jenny's video about somebody saying, what do you do? How do you explain this when the people that you need to explain it to don't even believe in DNA to begin with?
Yeah. Well, 20-some years for me, the one I talked to, and we're in touch, quite often. But I just told her, I said, the DNA is here. I had to hire someone because I didn't understand something. And I saw she called it themes, the person, Emma Macbeth. And she called it, you got some themes going on here. And it keeps heading. And so she went through and within a week came back where I'm sitting here like, okay, what's going on? Wait a minute.
Did your family believe you, Shelley? Did your family that
the one that I talked to did, but I have not told the other. Okay. Mom just sat there and just smiled. We just started and so because this is my dad's family, and for African,
she was enjoying that.
For African Americans, the first thing you're gonna think of is, and if you're African American in this country per se, you're gonna think that your last name is probably gonna be a slaveholder family. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be. It could be great grandma slaveholder family, whatever, or the name that was chosen to take. And so, but I struggled for 20-some years with my grandfather and who he said his father was. And of course, I've never found that. You would think with 30, I got 35 years or more. A
lot of years in there.
Well, and I have not been able to find a William Michael Murphy, which is in every white Catholic family in the world.
Yeah, you got that right.
Yep.
And he ends up, this gentleman is white, Jenny, by the way.
Okay.
But I knew I had more European coming in, so it had to come from the other side. So anyway, and again, people just can't assume, but
Jenny, what did your family
I haven't told everybody yet.
Yeah. Did you have family that don't believe it?
Yeah, well, my sister, one of my sisters did not believe it. And she still has a hard time accepting the science
Okay.
of it. She just said, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. You look just like so and so, and that's just in her head. And but yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Just-
not
I
going to
was-
change.
I
for
was
a
just
while.
curious because that question was asked, and so I wonder how many times as they've tried to reach out to families for relative race, there are people that say, "Oh, I don't believe that," you know. And so, and maybe that's some of them not wanting to come on the show is because they don't believe in the science of DNA, and this couldn't possibly happen, and those types of things. So that might have something
And
to do
family
with it as well.
business just out on TV.
And family business.
Remember
Family business.
several seasons ago, it was a father and a son, and it was the father's mother.
Yes.
And then she came on, but at first she wasn't.
Yeah.
She didn't want to be on camera.
That's right. That's right. Let's talk about talking about sad things. Team Red. Team Red was a sad one. Anybody want
She
to
found out, well, she met her sister.
Yes, older sister.
On her dad's side.
Mhm.
Very nice woman. I would love to be around that woman. But
It
she
sounds like she's got many more sisters on that.
Yes.
Too.
Yes. But she found out from her sister, unfortunately, that her father, her birth father, was murdered October 29th, 1987, which that was the year that I graduated high school. And they said in St. Thomas Project. So I don't know if that means that's a projects in that Pensacola, Florida area, or was it the name of the, sometimes they give these names to these, like a mass murder or something or other.
It's probably the name of the place where he lived.
Okay.
That community. That's what I was thinking.
But he was murdered. She didn't give any more details than that, but it really, really upset Geselle.
I hope Mary's doing her job.
That's right.
Mary needs to be. Mary's on an airplane. She's supposed to.
She can do it on an airplane.
Yes, she can do it on an airplane. Exactly. She can figure it out for us. But
that was just so sad. She took, she's devastated by that.
And
they come into the show and, I'm sure they have expectations of who they want to meet. And I'm thinking, obviously, mom and dad are number one on the list.
Right.
Sure.
So when they're told, like, your maternal side wants nothing to do with you, and then your father's passed away, well, then there's she even said about losing the hope. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that, you don't need to lose your hope. Yeah. Hope is what keeps us all going. So hang on to a smidgen of it if you can.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because by the time she gets talking to her sister and kind of they got to the call at the end, she was actually perked back up. And so we don't know in what sequence they're filming, but
and the time in between.
And so I'm sure she probably got to take some time and but I think her sister's going to be. She even told her, she says, "I'm going to bug you to death."
Yeah. I liked her vibe a lot.
Yeah, that's gonna be a cute relationship. Sorry, Cheri.
But that's another thing that no matter what, people, when they're connecting, they're latching on. And it's also support for both, because if all of a sudden I just found out I had a sister, which I don't, but and I asked Mom, I said, Dad got any
anything I need?
And my auntie, she started laughing. She said, well, it wasn't your mother. These country girls. But anyway, but either way, you're finding somebody and you don't know anybody. I mean, they really are strangers. Even though there's something common. I love that they're latching on, like the big sister role and things like that. So it's kind of beautiful to see that happen. and be there for the support. Because I think, Jenny, I don't know, you had support somewhat, and if I remember right, that helped a lot to be able to have the support. Not everybody, but you had a few that were support in your situation as well. And I think we need that as humans, because if we go down, we got to be able to come back up, and someone might need to be there with us.
We need somebody to help pull us back up.
Absolutely. I agree.
It's always fascinated me to watch these relatively shows and how fast the contestants and the family members make that connection.
Mhm.
There's been a few not so much, but for the majority of the time, I mean, they have just connected and latched on and like, okay, we're forever together kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
And I just, and not only is that great for the contestant, but it's so great for the family members to be that way. You
And I
know,
do think it's got a lot to do with the way the show's produced and how they set everything up and how, do you know what I mean? That
yeah,
they do it in a gentle, loving way versus, some of the
and
stuff.
in your
Well,
face,
that's the
harsh
whole
way,
thing.
Yeah,
probably.
It's
harsh.
about
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
It's
I
about
do.
finding family.
Right.
Right.
So,
Staying true
yeah.
to that.
yeah. I really do think that it's just the show. I don't think another show could do quite what they do. It's just something in the air. It's just the production and how they respect the teams and how they respect the families that they're meeting and making sure everybody is okay. And we heard that a couple of weeks ago. So about how they work through those with the producers. So so I think that's got a lot to do with it too. So, well, let's talk about Team Blue. I think it's kind of funny because they go on and they say that Tranisha's there to help Mitchell.
I know, and I got confused for a
journey.
minute. And I thought, wait,
it's about two people.
was he adopted also?
Well, yeah, that's supposed to be about him. So she's supposed to be, there to support him, and she's
It's coming.
but he's adopted too. But she came, I think she knows some things, so she just came as a support for him, and she keeps finding people. And how about that great uncle that she found? Oh my God,
he was
or 96 or something.
He was so funny.
Yeah. World War II hero. How fun is that? And do I invite it to your party? He was great. He keeps going, I didn't do nothing about you. This is something else.
And then the connection that they made with food.
Yeah.
And they even said that being a foodie is in our DNA.
Yes.
And I thought that was pretty funny, pretty good.
They have a restaurant thing.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And it is so fun. And we've talked about this so many times in a little bit earlier in the show, but those connections are just something. So there's a little bit of DNA. There's a little bit of who you live with. It's nature and nurture all together.
Absolutely.
DNA on top.
It's a little bit of both. So I just think it's amazing when they make those connections and see that they all have the same family traits, like the other puppies. I think that's amazing.
And did you hear Tanisha make the comment that they had lived close for years?
Yes.
We have seen other connections like that where they said, wait a minute, we have lived near each other for how long?
I didn't even know. Probably passed each other on the street, but in the movie theater at the same time, or those kind of things.
Yeah, remember last season in that community? He lived there, he was adopted, and he was related to everybody around.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
So funny.
I just love it. But it just also shows you the human interaction too. No matter what, they were all still like family, and they didn't even know they were real family.
And small towns are like that anyway,
Oh, yeah.
So you just never know in a small town who might be related to somebody.
That's right.
They didn't have to ride very far for the road trip.
Nobody's telling you. So we get to results, which, in the past I've hated, but now I'm like, well, wait a minute, we can talk to each other, right?
Yeah.
It's not as bad because we get to hear a little bit more and they're talking to each other about their journey.
Well, even they've noticed the fact that they're getting to talk to each other.
Where's Dan? Oh, good. We can talk for a little while. Dan comes in.
Or Dan gets here.
Yeah. So, they were sharing their road trip problems. And they were sharing those kind of issues and saying, I think we're probably going to get the strike because we didn't do so well today. And they're really talking and bonding with each other. And I really, really like this change for this year. I really do.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I do too.
It's more real because, in the past, it's like there's no interaction, no nothing. And you're just like, there's got to be.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of good that we're seeing it this year.
Right. And that's how they can help support each other, and they need to be able to sort of support each other far beyond the last take of the season, because they uniquely have gone on this journey. Other people are not going to understand. Only the past teams are going to be able to understand, and your specific set of teams on your season are going to really be able to understand what you went through, because they were with you witnessing a lot of it as you talked about it. So I think it's just a good way to give them counsel, because how many times have we said, or somebody is asked, do they have counseling? And of course the answer is no. But if they can start counseling each other and build a greater bond with each other, then think of all the help they could get during the show and after the show for years, for years to come. So I'm really glad that they're doing that, so that they have each other. So and we're not seeing any bickering or anything between teams, and I think this is going to help that not happen.
I think it's coming. It inevitably comes.
It's coming.
They start doing those texts in the car at each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's coming.
Maybe. I hope not. I'm hoping that being
it's
able
all in
to
fun though, and they all
I
say
know.
that.
Yeah, this is true. And nobody's got a rubber chicken this season. Nobody.
No. But we do have fuzzy dice.
Yeah,
fuzzy dice.
And I'm surprised. Wouldn't it be funny if one of the locked up things has something to do with rubber chicken? That would be really funny.
Yeah.
Bring back the rubber chicken. All righty, let's go into results. Who'd like to?
Let's talk about the fuzzy dice. What did they do with the fuzzy dice?
Yeah.
Team Red, and Team Red had her cousin to roll the dice on the car, and the number was 8, and they said save it for the end. And
remember that number.
Yeah, well, it ended up, and oddly, it really didn't make a difference. Because they were 22 minutes over their allotted time, and so then they took that number 8 and subtracted 8 minutes, which kept them, they were in second, and then they stayed in second.
They stayed in second,
yeah. But I still thought, fuzzy dice for the win, because last time the fuzzy dice did nothing.
Absolutely.
At least it helped. At least it did something for them. Kept them in second. So who came in number 1?
Wait. Oh, do you remember the board with all the benefits in this?
Yeah.
So there's more coming, and all.
There's definitely more coming, because Team Green came in first, and they had debated on what they wanted, and they chose the leg up.
That's what I was going to choose. I pick the leg up.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be interesting. I wonder if that's going to have something to do with the challenge.
You think?
No, I don't know.
So.
It sounds like it would go with the challenge, but what do I know?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But I think it's kind of fun.
The blue team got 3rd place.
Yes, which means they did last week. So they're sitting in that sweet spot of blue, number 3.
Which means black team got the strike.
Yeah, and they were pretty much.
But I have to.
They were expecting it,
The roads, even though it was 29 minutes or whatever it was, wasn't a lot of time over, but
they also timed out.
Yeah,
they timed out
on the activity.
That's
just a bad combination.
I'm still rooting for them, though.
Oh yeah. Because we get to these where we want everybody to get a strike so that nobody's going home. So it's like, okay.
I will say one thing about Team Black, and I cannot remember, what is the guy's name?
Patrick.
Pat. Yeah. When that very first episode, when he was talking and giving his story and things like that, he seemed very guarded and very low key. But he's almost immediately, since his first relative has really just exploded out of his shell and just kind of like, okay. Because I was at first, I was like, oh, he's going to be kind of a troubled one. He's going to be one that's going to have some issues. But now I don't think so, because I think he's really kind of embraced all of this.
Yeah, he seemed to be having a really good time as he was meeting his relative. And I mean, he got to see all those pictures. I mean, he was excited, pictures of people he'd never seen before. So very, very exciting. I think this is going to be, we always say this, the best season ever. We always say that.
They're all good seasons.
They're
I
all
can't. I
they're
can't
all good
one out
seasons. Yeah, they're
necessarily.
all really good seasons. But I still want them to have a season where everybody kind of gets together, or everybody, and does something. I think we've had 12 now seasons. So let's get all of the teams and have them do something
I
together.
like to know follow-up stuff.
Okay. Well, they do Where Are They Now and things like that. But I mean, I just would love to see them playing games together again, rotate it up and do something really, really fun. I think that would
Because a
be
few seasons ago, all of them, remember, are all still in contact with each
Oh
other.
yeah.
Yeah, they are. They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, we can't forget, they're supposed to be taking notes about everything.
Yeah, I think there's a quiz coming.
I think there's a quiz coming, and I wonder if that quiz is coming on day 10.
And it's going to be part of their challenge, yes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anybody taking notes.
No, hopefully
on camera anyway.
Well, hopefully they're doing that.
Yeah.
Once the camera goes
camera.
off, they're sitting there thinking about, okay, what happened today and what.
You think, and we talked about, that's why I think that they're getting that extra time at the end of the day, maybe.
Talk, kind of ask each other what happened.
Because as they're talking, the producers are listening, and they're going to use some of this stuff against them.
Right.
They're actually doing the notes.
They're the ones taking notes.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Exactly. So that's going to be really fun. And so maybe we all need to pay attention too, so that as we watch it, we can yell at them through the screen and tell them what the answer is.
So we'll have them on the show.
Oh, we're definitely going to have them on the show.
Have them on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exciting. So
that'd be cool. But it's still a good season. Just in it's really exciting, and it's only the second episode.
It's only the second episode. Think about all the people we've had hints of.
A couple months break.
Yeah. So we've got sisters and dads and all sorts of people that have been hinted at that they're hopefully going to meet.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that's one of them made a comment of a relative that they met, and something about this is what you're going to see, or this is who you're going to find. So they know who's coming next, and this, that, and the other. Because
but remember, Corey was saying they're really not supposed to tell them that.
Right.
Did you hear that little slip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And so, I mean, I don't know, maybe they got permission just for that to go ahead and say it for some reason.
Well, there was
whoever it was asked, do you know? And for something, and the response was, this is what you're going to have to see or go through.
Well, no, they said that's your surprise.
That's your surprise.
That's your surprise.
That's your surprise. Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa. Yes. And I thought, she knows. She
knows something. She knows something. That must be so hard.
That's gotta be. That would be hard for me.
Oh yeah. To not be able to tell them, when that's got to be so hard, because sometimes they'll show them a picture and they'll say, do you know anything about my dad? And they do, but they can't say anything. And
they can't say.
They can't
and
say.
It's not a he was.
And usually they'll just say something like that. Well, I don't know much, when they really know a lot, but they, because they don't want to blow it for the next. They want the next meeting to be a surprise, and so they can't tell them ahead of time. So,
well, don't you think that sister on Black team, sister's gonna have some surprises too?
Maybe, yeah. Exactly.
There's a lot of family members there, so it's gonna wait to see.
I think she will too. I think she will.
That's I think.
Because she had said, isn't she the one that said that she found out who her biological mother was, that side of the family, and they didn't want to meet. So we've got two teams that they've got a parent, and it's both maternal. Isn't that interesting? That don't want to meet. And so she says, so I'm okay with us. I'm just coming to support. They'll find somebody. They'll find somebody.
Yeah.
A cousin or somebody. Yeah, they'll find somebody for her that wants to meet her somehow on one of the sides of her family. So anyway, is there anything else? I thought it was a really good second day with some really sad stuff, but I'm glad they told him ahead like this, so he doesn't go 2, 3, 4 more days, and still he's going to meet somebody on his maternal side. So I'm really glad they did that. And the cousin, Erin, how brave of her.
Yeah.
To be the one.
That
had been so
that's
hard.
tough.
That was tough.
Yeah. So
I like the fact that a couple of the teams, I think it's a couple, were sitting outside and had their luggage with them when they got the call.
Yes, see, they're listening to our advice.
Yes,
that's another book. That's another book we were planning on writing.
Yes.
As our tips for the teams. And one of those is pack your suitcase.
Yes.
And have it ready. Read maps. We got a whole list of things that people should do. So, and bulk up a little bit, do some exercise, go to run, because you never know what your challenge is going to be. So anyway, and I guess learn how to put puzzles together, practice puzzles.
Yes.
Word puzzles, all sorts of things. So anyway, we've been telling them this for years, Jenny, and do they listen?
No. Although, a lot of these teams talk about watching past seasons.
Yes.
Getting tips and tricks and and they'll reference them. So that means they're watching, which is a good thing. It's like doing your homework,
Exactly.
But they need to add watching GenFriends.
Exactly.
Yes.
They'll give them what they need to win.
Tons of good tips for you.
That's right. That's right.
We've got the best tips in the world because we're on the sideline.
Exactly. And hopefully all the ones we give you are legal with the show, and we're not going to get you in trouble. So
we have no idea.
We don't know.
Jenny on here now.
Anything else that anybody said or did on the show that you wanted to cover that we missed? Because I hate that, at the end, or like I might, turn off the show and go, we never talked about this that happened, So
I think I'm good if anybody else can think of anything.
I'm ready for next week. So
me too.
And let me tell you, thank you. Laura was asking questions about something last week, and somebody answered her in the chat for YouTube. So yeah, thanks for doing that. Thanks if we're off and we're calling people the wrong names or got them all confused. Keep us straight, because sometimes we just get a little too excited.
We're normal. We're genealogists. We're normal.
So, I think it'd be fun if you asked us questions. We'd love to hear questions.
And that's a great opportunity. I wish people would submit some questions, their feelings and thoughts on the episode, and say, okay, you guys talk about this.
Yeah, that would be great. And that as the season goes by, we will hopefully have the team members on and we'll talk to them. So start thinking about questions that you might want us to ask them as they come on. So
I challenge them to challenge us.
Okay. All right, viewers.
Guys out there, bring it.
Bring it on. Challenge us.
If it's legal.
Challenge.
Shelley has thrown down the challenge.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, for being on. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait for day 3. It's going to be another one of those seasons that just goes by so fast.
Go by so fast.
And we love to hear from you viewers. We would love to hear how you feel about the show, about our crazy conversations. Like I said, if you need to set us straight, please do. Because somebody needs to. So anyway, thanks for watching GenFriends, and we'll see you for day 3. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.